Hey guys, I'm going to go over the homework. First of all, I just want to say I'm sorry for putting seconds in all of these instead of minutes, okay? And I had some students that stayed after tutoring to me and mentioned that, so good eye, and I apologize if that caused any confusion, but it should, all of these wherever it says seconds should say minutes because the graph is in minutes, okay? So we see here, just as an observation, that Sylvia bikes home along a straight road from her friend's house, a distance of 8 miles. The graph shows her journey. So this is where her friend's house is. Her friend's house is 8 miles from her house. Okay? And you can see the journey that she takes. Like, for example, from 0 to 30 minutes, she travels 2 miles, which to me seems kind of a long, maybe it's a very, very leisurely ride. Okay, so like from 2 miles, from 8 down to 6, okay, she traveled 2 miles in 30 minutes. And then from 30 to 50 minutes, that's like 20 minutes, she didn't move at all. She stayed at 6 miles from home, which means she stopped. Then she looks like she went a mile away from home again. All right, so maybe she backtracked. She went back. I don't know. Maybe she said, "Oh, I want to go visit and see the dog," or "I want to," you can come up with creative reasons there. But then she didn't stay. She actually turned around again at when she was 7 miles from home, and she just rode a constant speed back home. Here is where she's at home, and it's 90 minutes later. So 90 minutes, that's about an hour and a half, or exactly an hour and a half, she's home. So that just gives you an overview of what's going on, since this is minutes and distance from home in miles. So she's 8 miles from home here, 6 miles from home here, 7 miles from home here, 0 miles, and that means she's home. Okay, so let's look at number 1. When Sylvia begins her trip, how far from home is she? This is where her trip begins. She's 8 miles from home. Okay, it says distance from home in miles. This is 8 miles from home. 7 miles from home. She starts at 8 miles from home. So 8 miles. Put MI for miles. If you just put M, it means meters. Number 2, how far does Sylvia travel in the first 30 minutes? So in the first 30 minutes, we're seeing how far she went. So she started at 0 and ends up here, 0 to 30 minutes, which means she started at 8 miles from home, and then now she's 6 miles from home. So that means she traveled a total of 2 miles, because it went from 8 to 7 and 7 to 6, and then that's 2 miles. How far from home is she now? So in the first 30 minutes, how far from home is she now? She's 6 miles from home. Because she was first 8 miles from home, now she's 6 miles from home, which is 2 miles traveling. But now at this point, 30 minutes later, she is 6 miles from home. Number 3, does Sylvia's distance from home change between 30 and 50 minutes? No, it doesn't. She's 6 miles from home here, 6 miles from home, 6 miles. So, no. Write a creative reason for what is happening here. She stopped. Well, this is one way to write it. She stopped to take pictures of a scenic view, maybe. Maybe she's like, oh, this is a great place to stop and take pictures, and she just decides to take pictures. Okay, that could be one reason. She definitely stopped, okay, but the reason she stopped could be, you guys can get creative about that. Maybe she fainted. Hopefully that's not, that's kind of a negative thing, but like, or she ran into a friend and they just talked and caught up, so there's a few different reasons why she might have stopped. And she stopped for 20 minutes, because if she's between 30 and 50, that's 20 minutes, okay? So let's look at number 4. What is happening from 50 to 60 minutes? So let's see, 50 to 60 minutes, okay? Well, she went from being 6 miles from home to being 7 miles from home. Looks like she backtracked, because she was close to home here, and now she's 1 mile away from home. So maybe she decided, we don't know what happened, but what is happening? She went back a mile towards her friend's house. Write a creative reason for what is happening here. So she went a mile back. That takes her a good 10 minutes. Okay, so she went back 10 miles, or not 10 miles, she went back 1 mile. She went from 6 miles away from home to 7. So she went back 1 mile. but she didn't go all the way back to her friend's house. So maybe she realized that there's somebody, a neighbor, like a mile back, that she forgot to drop something off, because she didn't stay there. She left right away. So maybe we'll say, this is what I'm going to give. She forgot to give her neighbor mom's cookies. She went back a mile to drop them off. That could be a reason. Number 5, at 60 minutes, how far is Sylvia from home? So 60 minutes, she's 7 miles from home. Write an ordered pair to represent this relationship. Well, this is your x-axis and this is your y-axis. That doesn't change. So you got to write the x before the y. So we need to put minutes before the distance, okay? Because the minutes represents the x-axis. So let's see. She's 60 minutes from home. 60 minutes on her ride, and 7 miles from home. So you would write 70 or 60, comma 7. How many? Wow, that should be miles. How many miles does Sylvia ride from 60 to 90 seconds? From here, she's at 7 miles. And then she goes all the way from 60 to 90. She goes all the way from here to here. So 7 miles she travels. Because you start at 7. Now it's just 1. Okay, this is 1 mile, then 2 miles, then 3 miles, 4, 5, 6, 7 miles. And that's 0. That's when she's home. So she traveled 7 miles. How long, which means in minutes, does it take Sylvia to get home from her friend's house? Well, she started here, 8 miles, and then she's finally home here. It took her 90 minutes. Okay? And then number 8, when Sylvia is about 3 miles from home, estimate how long she has been riding her bicycle. So she's about 3 miles from home. So she is about, I would say, around, she's been riding for about 77 minutes. Although you could say that she rested here, but we're not going to get too technical about that. Well, we should. So she rested here. So she was riding from here to here. She was riding for 30 minutes. Okay? So she rode for 30 minutes, but then she rested, so she wasn't riding her bicycle at all here. And then from here to here, 50 to 60 minutes, she was riding again. That's 10 minutes. And then she was continuing to, she turned around, but she was still riding. So from 60 to 90, that's 30 minutes. So she's been riding her bicycle a total of 70 minutes. Because 30 plus 10 is 40, plus 30 is 70 minutes. That was a little bit of a tricky question. All right, once again, I just want to apologize for all the little errors here, but I hope that you guys are still able to do the homework and that you're able to do what you need to do.